Hey there, drone fans. Today is a really exciting day here at the shop because DJI just announced the brand new Neo2 drone. Now, as you know, there's an embargo on the United States, so it's really difficult to get DJI products. So I had to get a little bit clever with this one, and I'm not going to say too much, but it involved a drive of about 1,000 miles for me. And a whole lot of secret handshakes and sort of nods and winks. It was a bit like a spy novel. But anyway, the good news is I got my hands on a brand new Neo2, and I'm going to do a complete set of reviews on this drone, and you can tell I'm already giddy because I haven't gotten inside the box to play with it yet, but I have to be honest, the original Neo is one of my favorite drones, and it wasn't initially. When that Neo first came out, I looked at it like most of you did and said, okay, it's kind of an interesting concept, but it looks like a toy. It can't really fly very well until I got it out in the field and started flying it. And I started flying it without a controller because it's a selfie drone. So you could launch it from your hand, it would take off and do all kinds of pretty cool things. And I thought, yeah, that's pretty amazing. But then I started flying it with the controller and I used the RC2 and it flew like a regular drone. And I was thinking, this is wicked cool. And then I bought the FPV kit and connected that and started flying it like an FPV drone. So for me, over the last year or so, that drone has become one of my favorite drones to fly. It's with me everywhere. It's small enough where I can take it on vacation or if I'm traveling for business, and it just gives me everything I need. The only complaint I had about that drone was the limitations on the video. It didn't really do well on video because it had a small sensor. That's been fixed with this guy. I also had some questions about its wind resistance because when it's small like that, it tends to be a slave to the wind. So the wind's going to move it around an awful lot. And it had a single axis gimbal, so it didn't really do much as far as stabilization goes. I mean, it did an okay job, but you could see a lot of jitter in the image. This one has got a 2-axis gimbal, so I'm expecting the video is going to be better. It's got a 1/2-inch sensor, which means I'm going to get 4K video at 60 or 100 frames per second. It's pretty much everything I need in a drone, and it's tiny. It weighs 151 grams, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Boy, am I excited to get into this box. Anyway, this is the Neo2 Fly More combination, which includes a bunch of other things. Now, every time I review one of the DJI products, they typically release them in a couple of different kits. So you can get the drone by itself in most cases. You can get the drone with a controller. You can get the drone in a Fly More combo like this one that gives you the controller and a charging hub and a couple of extra propellers and a few other things. I always recommend going with the Fly More combination because honestly, once you start flying one of these drones, the first thing you're going to realize is you want to fly longer. And you've only got one battery typically if you buy the basic package. So the first thing you're going to do is go out there and try and find a second battery, maybe even a third battery, and that's great. That gives you more flight time. But then how do you charge the batteries? You need a charging hub, or you can charge them individually, but that takes forever. So a charging hub is the second thing you'll want. In the Fly More combination, you get both of that. You get 2 extra batteries and a charging hub, which means you can fly longer, you can charge all your batteries at the same time. It's just a better deal. And when you add up the numbers, this actually turns out to be a much more cost-effective solution than picking up a couple batteries, picking up the charging hub on its own. All right, enough about that. I've done way too much talking on the introduction. Now we're going to get into the box. Now, you can probably tell this is what we call a red dot, which is one of the demos that go out to the field. And to be honest with you, when the handoff took place on this product, the box is banged up pretty good. So I think the person I picked it up from was probably flying this drone all over the parking lot before I got my hands on it. So I don't expect anything inside this box is going to be factory sealed, but I don't care because I got the Neo2 and I can't wait to fly it. So let's get the box open. All right, so there is no DJI seal here, but I promise you I haven't opened it yet or taken a look at it. So boy, oh boy, this is a lot of fun. So I've got my slicer right here. If you haven't talked about this before, this is unbelievably cool. It's a ceramic slicer. It's like a regular razor, but it won't cut your fingers, but it does really well cutting things, and that lasts forever. So it's by a company called Slice. I have a ton of these. I use them all the time. All right, so let me open the box. Yeah, that's it. We're into the box. Here we go. So there's the drone. There's the controller. Here, oh boy, I just love new technology. All right, pop the top. All right, what do we got? We got a box inside of a box. Let me pull that out. That's probably going to be all the accessories. I'll set that aside for a second. Ooh, here's the drone. Here's the drone. Yep, just like I suspected. That bag doesn't look sealed to me, so somebody's been flying this guy. What else is in here? Oh, we got a desiccant too. Make sure you throw the desiccant out. I talk about that every time. That's super dangerous. You don't want people eating that or pets getting a hold of it. All right, so let me set the drone aside. I so want to play with this. And let's see what's in the accessory box before I get into the good stuff. All right, so inside the box, ooh, that's nice. I got little compartments. Let me just dump it out and we'll get started on that. All right, so there's the charging hub. And again, none of this is in a factory bag, so thank you for holding on to it for me, and I hope you had a lot of fun flying it before I actually picked it up. And I can't say as I blame you, because I would do exactly the same thing. All right, so that's pretty much empty. Let me get rid of that. And this is pretty much empty, so I'll just stand this up over here. Now inside the box, there's an RCN3 controller. Now this is pretty familiar to anybody that's flying some of the newer drones from DJI. It looks like the N1 and the N2, but again, it's a little bit more updated because it's using OcuSync 4, which is the latest transmission technology, which is absolutely phenomenal. So it comes in the Fly More combination. You pop your phone on the top here. If you want to add a tablet to it, we have brackets on our website that actually allow you to add a bracket to it so you can hold a tablet, but pretty much a standard controller. You've got the two joysticks on the bottom. They screw into the two ports up here. Yeah, and everything else looks exactly the same as the RCN2 or the original RCN3 in the last couple of drones. Okay, also included is a propeller. I only see one propeller, so that's probably not a good sign. So I'm missing a propeller. I'm laughing because I'm so happy I got this, and I don't even care that I'm missing stuff at this point. I know that the kit's supposed to come with a screwdriver and at least two propellers. I only got one, so okay, I'm good there. And it was supposed to come with two cables, and this one only has a single cable, which of course is an Android. So that's going to be tricky with my iPhone, but I'll figure that out. It's no big deal. I can get a cable, I can get a small screwdriver, and I'm sure I can find propellers someplace. Also included with the kit is a bunch of manuals. There's a quick start guide, looks like a Neo2 safety guide. This is as a drone pilot, always read through this because it gives you the basic rules, especially if you've never flown a drone before, because that drone doesn't look dangerous, but you have to follow the rules. Like visual line of sight's important. Don't fly over people. Don't go higher than 400 feet. You know, don't fly too far away from yourself so you can't see it anymore. So make sure you play by those rules, because those of us who fly really, really love the hobby, and we just want to make sure that everybody can have a lot of fun out there and stay safe so that people aren't complaining about drones, you know, causing issues in society. All right, what else do we got here? Okay, so DJI store. So I guess this is, DJI forum where you can get on that, and a store. So a lot of paperwork there. All right, let me look at the charging hub, and then I'm going to get into this. So the charging hub has spots for 3 batteries, and these batteries are nice. They're small. They're actually a lot different than the original Neo battery. And again, you'll get about 19 minutes of flight time on a fully charged battery, depending on how you're flying. So I've got 3 of them here, and they pop into the charging hub. And the charging hub is a USB-C connection on the side, which I'll use for charging, and a button right there that I can push to let me know, push and hold actually, to let me know what the current charge level on the batteries is. Another indicator that somebody's been flying this is the batteries are fully charged, which is not the way they normally come from the factory, but I'll stop talking about it because I'm just happy to have it. All right, let's take a look at the drone. Ooh. There we go. There it is. There's the Neo2 in all its glory right there. Boy, is that a beautiful drone. So to me, I've got the original Neo here. To me, immediately, it's a darker gray. You can see the lighter gray in the original Neo, and it's, I'm going to say, substantially larger, which I think is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. It's got bigger propellers, it's got a much bigger cage around the propellers, the body's bigger, but wouldn't you expect that? They're putting a bigger sensor on the front. It's got a lot of advanced electronics inside of it that this one didn't have, and I'll get into that in a minute. And then what's this thing hanging off the back right here? Well, if you're not aware of it, the Neo itself works on Wi-Fi. So if you're going to fly it without the Fly More combination, you can fly it on its own by lifting off from your hand and flying around you, or you can use your phone to fly it using a basic Wi-Fi carrier, which will give you about 500 meters of distance. Now, I wouldn't test that, but you can go 100 meters, 200 meters, you know, plenty of connection. So it's great for flying it really simply with your phone or on its own because it's a great selfie drone. If you want to fly it further than that, you need to add this little transmitter on the back here, which plugs into the USB-C port. And again, my good friends at the company that I picked this up from already installed this, so it's already on there. And there are 4 screws that hold it on that USB-C connection. And this turns the drone into an OcuSync 4 compatible drone, which means I can use a controller like this. I can use the RC2, which is even better because I've got a screen on that. And I can use the FPV motion controller and the N3 goggles. So all of that's pretty cool. It is nice that they offer that as an add-on to the original drone. And I have some thoughts on that I'll cover in another clip coming up. But just to give you a comparison between the two, oh my gosh, there goes the Neo. Between the two, you can see the size difference. Look how much bigger that one is than the small guy. It falls right behind it. Now, I like this one a lot. I'm still going to fly it, but now that this guy's shown up, this is going to be my drone of choice. So let's take a look at the front. I want to get a look at that sensor. Oh, it's a beauty. That's a half-inch sensor right up there. Again, 4K video, 60 or 100 frames per second. It also shoots true vertical video in 2.7K, so you're going to get some amazing shots out there. And there's a ton of intelligence built into the drone, starting with the fact that they've now got 360-degree obstacle avoidance. They've got a sensor on the top and a sensor on the bottom. These are binocular ocular sensors that are looking for obstacles out in the environment and will save the drone from running into it. They've also got LiDAR on the front. One other nice feature is this unit only had sort of a voice that would talk to you and tell you exactly what it was going to do when you move through the different modes. With this one, there's a digital display in the front. I think it's on this side that actually has writing to tell you exactly what mode you're in and how far it's going to go and all the other cool things. So it gives you a lot more of feedback, I guess, to tell you exactly what the drone's going to do. All right, so some other cool things they've built in addition to the fact that it has crash avoidance 360 degrees, it's got LiDAR out the front, and LiDAR is something that there's a lot of confusion out there. So LiDAR is laser-based, and it really doesn't help you during the day because the binocular vision does a really good job of seeing a tree or a pole or a building, and it'll pull back. LiDAR gives the drone a much better view of the surface, and it's really good when it's dark because the binocular vision sensors only work when it's really light, and especially when there's a difference between, say, a tree and the forest behind it, so it can tell the difference between a solid object and an open space. LiDAR doesn't care about any of that. It's bouncing lasers off everything, and it can predict the path around things and avoid things much better than the binocular vision can. So where that kicks in is when it's darker, or maybe it's a cloudy day, or it's really hard to discern where the solid things are and where the spaces are. So adding LiDAR to this is absolutely amazing, especially when you consider this is about as big, the body of this is about as big as a Milky Way bar. And I know that's a weird metric to use, but I eat a lot of candy, you probably can tell. And a Milky Way bar is about that size. How do you fit that kind of technology into a case that's the size of a Milky Way bar? Again, I use the word brilliant a lot when I talk about DJI, but how can you not appreciate the engineering of compacting everything to make this drone fly stably, capture 4K video at 100 frames per second, crash avoidance, LiDAR, all kinds of whiz-bang intelligence in it, again, in a case that's small. Pretty incredible stuff. All right, in addition to that, they've added a couple of automation features to it. One that I like a lot, and I haven't had a chance to test this yet, I'll test it a little later today, is in selfie mode now. You can set it to a particular setting where when you do a selfie, it'll lift off your hand and fly away from you. Normally it flies to a certain distance. It'll video on the way out and video on the way back, or it'll snap a picture from its apex when it's up at the top of its flight pattern. This one will actually take 3 pictures. It'll take 3. One is far away, one is closer, and one's really close. So it gives you sort of a waist-up shot, a portrait shot, and a wide shot. So if you've got family, it's going to take a picture of 8 people all hugging out in the field. But if it's just you and your honey, it's going to zoom in a little closer and take that shot where just you two are in focus. Or if it's just you on vacation, it's going to take a portrait of you and capture what's behind you. It does all that automatically. You don't need to do anything. There's no shenanigans on your part. The drone is smart enough to do that. And it does all the other things you've expected. So it does helix, it does zoomy, it does rocket, it does all the things that most of the DJI drones do. In addition, they've added dolly zoom. And dolly zoom is one of those features that I just love. It's not something you want to overuse, but what dolly zoom does is digitally, the drone flies away from you as it's pulling the actual focus in on you. So it's pulling in sort of the expansion of the picture towards you as it's flying away from you. And it gives you this very unsettling effect where it seems like the entire landscape behind you is fading away as you're coming into focus. So it's pulling that sort of expansion of that background away from you, and it's unsettling as heck. So if you're going to do like an effect, if you're looking, like you're confused about something in a video, do the dolly zoom, and it makes it look like, like you're not sure what's going on. And that was made famous by Alfred Hitchcock. I think it was in Vertigo the first time he's used it, but he's used it a bunch. But that's a cool feature. Again, it's one button on the unit, and it does the dolly zoom for you. So for me, again, 19 minutes of flight time on a battery, 10 kilometers of distance, and again, don't fly it that far for 2 reasons. Number one, you're breaking the rules because you're supposed to keep it in visual line of sight if you live in the United States. But more importantly, it's a small drone. You fly 10 kilometers away and a wind kicks up, this thing's heading for the horizon. So kind of keep it on your visual line of sight to be safe. And it does 4K video at both 60 and 100 frames per second. Phenomenal footage. It's an f2.2 aperture, which I think is great for a drone of this size. And then what else did I wanted to talk about? I think that's pretty much it. It's using OcuSync 4 technology, which is the latest from DJI. Again, incredible that they fit it in a drone this size. Now, I want to talk just a minute about what this drone is and what this drone isn't, because there's a lot of conversation out there about, oh, these selfie drones, they're not that really drones, they're not that cool. This is not a drone. So if you're flying a Mini 4 Pro or a Mavic 4 or your Mini 5 Pro, those are drones that are built to go, 2,500 feet away in a very stiff wind. Even though this has level 5 wind resistance, a bigger drone like a Mini 5 Pro that's got beefier motors and it's got a little better calculations as far as stability goes, that's a drone that you can fly with confidence if you're doing kind of aerial photography for a living, or if you're serious about flying around really windy conditions at the shore or some other place in the mountains. This is a selfie drone, and this is designed primarily to be easy to use, to lift off from your hand, capture some beautiful footage of you, your friends, the landscape, and then come back and land in your hand. So this one, from the bag to the sky, is less than 15 seconds. You pull it out of the bag, you power it up, you hit a button, it takes off and starts filming. A regular drone like a Mini 5 Pro takes a little bit more time for setup. You got to power up the drone, power up the controller, you got to connect the two, and then you've got to get the positioning right, start the recording. This does all that automatically for you, so it's perfect for vacation photos or new flyers that haven't really entered the hobby yet, or if you're just looking for a fun way to capture some footage at your next party, and it's priced right. Now what it isn't, again, is a full-size drone. So if you're going to fly this thing on a really windy day, I'm here to tell you, this one, the Flip, and probably this one are going to fight the wind. So you're going to find yourself in a situation that if you put it out over the ocean on a windy day, you might have a hard time getting it back if you've got a headwind from behind you. So just be aware of the fact that it's great for that selfie type of an environment where it takes quick pictures. It's really taking great video now that it's got a 1/2-inch sensor, and it's easy to use, right? It's very user-friendly, whereas a Mini 5 Pro is a little more professional. So that's kind of the difference between them. Now, what complicates that, quite honestly, is the fact that DJI said, you know what, it is a selfie drone, but why don't we give them the ability to connect to a controller? Pretty cool. Now, I can fly it like a regular drone. Why don't we give them the ability to connect it to the RC2? Pretty cool. And I can fly it with the RC2 controller, which I own from the Mini 4 Pro. Then they thought a little more about it and said, you know what, this looks a lot like an FPV drone. Why don't we add the ability to fly it with the motion controller and the N3 goggles? And now you've got a drone that's a Swiss Army knife, because you can fly it like a real drone. You can use it as a selfie drone. You can take off and use your phone with virtual joysticks to fly the thing. And you can fly it as an FPV drone, which is absolutely incredible. So you're getting 4 drones in one with the Neo and the new Neo2, which, again, no other company out there's doing. So, pick on DJI all you want. I don't think you should. But if you are, this is the kind of stuff that gets me excited about the company. And I'm hoping you're getting excited too. So anyway, that's all I had for today. I cannot wait to get this outside and start flying it. I'm going to have it up in the air within 30 minutes of finishing this video. I've got 3 fully charged batteries, thanks to the company I picked it up from. And I'm going to have a whole lot of fun with it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Drop them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can and answer them. I'm going to have a lot of videos coming out about this drone and the Mini 5 Pro, which I know I've been a little late on. I've been really busy with travel and everything else, but both of those drones are brand new from DJI. They're both phenomenal drones. They're different use cases, but man, oh man, this new DJI Neo2, to me, looks like the one you want. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Again, thanks an awful lot for watching. We appreciate all the folks that have subscribed recently. I have so much more content coming. And don't forget, we're in November. Guess what happens in December? That's right, the 12 days of Drone Valley Christmas. We're going to have it again this year. I don't care what the country's feeling right now with all the malaise and people yelling at each other. We love Christmas, and we're going to do the 12 days of Drone Valley Christmas. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks an awful lot for watching. And until next time, as always, happy flying.